Hey, everybody. Listen, it's not quite Thursday. Now, is it? It's Wednesday. But we're doing a little something different here with Seawall Sports and Entertainment. We made a decision to cover training camp and do a few shows remotely. So this is your girl Seawall checking in for our very first Coaching from the Couch training camp edition. Okay? So I'm going to give everybody a chance to check in. As you all know, today was the first official training camp practice for the Washington football team. So I am ever so excited, of course, because it's football season. And I get to talk to you all even more than I already do. So, of course, we got to lay out some ground rules. And y'all going to hear me laying out these ground rules for a while so everybody can get used to it, because this is different for everybody, myself included. So, we do the regular Coaching from the Couch every week for the rundown of DC sports. We're absolutely still going to do that every Thursday at 7:30, the rundown of all DC sports. It's all professional sports. But this show in particular is going to be strictly Washington football, training camp, and regular season focused. We're going to be doing it all throughout training camp. So this is just another avenue, another way for you to talk to your fellow Washington football fans. Okay, this is for Washington football fans only. All right. And I mean, hey, if you have fans from other teams that like to support the Burgundy and Gold, they like to, just be in the know of what's going on, because you know how people are, they nosy. So that's not their team, but they still want to know what's going on with Washington football. You can go ahead and tag them, and you can check them in here too, because the more the merrier, for certain. Okay, so it's everybody checked in. Everybody's checked in. So yes, Caleb, talking on a Wednesday. I'm absolutely talking on a Wednesday, and you're going to see me on different days. Like I said, it's not just going to be Wednesday. It's not just going to be Thursday. It's not just going to be Friday, Saturday. Whenever the Seawall team feels that, hey, we got to get on, we got to do a live to talk Washington football, then that's what we are going to absolutely do. So I would love for each and every one of you to make sure you are tagging your fellow Washington football fans. Okay? Some of you all, can we just say this? Can I just say this really quickly? Some of you all have been asking for a Washington football only show. So, hey, listen, your day has come, all right? Your day has absolutely arrived, and I'm so happy to see each and every one of you all. I'm going to give you all a minute to check in. We see the Seawall team has absolutely checked in. Joy, who always handles the chat, has checked in. Sherrod, the originator Oliphant, who is the lead sports writer for Seawall Sports and Entertainment, has absolutely checked in. And so we all want to welcome you to this very first Coaching from the Couch Washington football team training camp edition. I've already seen Kayla check in. I've seen John Adams check in. Make sure you're sharing this show. Of course. It's always fun to watch the show later, but we can also do this thing live. Isn't that right? So, hey, listen, you all, let's go ahead and get started. Absolutely have to go ahead and get started. Again, today, as you all know, was the first official day of Washington football training camp down in Richmond, Virginia at the Bon Secours Training Camp Center. It's already lit, y'all. It's already lit. It's already a ton of just the camaraderie, everyone missing the fans and the fan presence. I just know it's got to feel absolutely amazing, because it feels absolutely amazing to be even talking about football, right? But before we got to today, the Washington football team, Ron Rivera, did some major things. They locked in two key players, right? Two key players, Jonathan Allen and tight end Logan Thomas. So definitely wanted to shout that out and just say, hey, let's acknowledge that they have definitely signed, sealed, and delivered. As you see here, Jonathan Allen with the big contract. I think Jonathan Allen is what now, the 5th highest paid defensive lineman? I want to say, I could be wrong, but he's making a lot of money, as you can see here on the screen. 4 years, $72 million contract with a $30 million signing bonus. If you all were locked in on the press conferences today, Jonathan Allen is continuing to talk about how excited he is to be locked in with the Washington football team. He's just ready to play football. So you all know my motto. When they want to be here and they want to get in with the grind, then let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. Absolutely. So congratulations to Jonathan Allen on the contract. Listen, I'm here for it. Anybody's thoughts on this contract? Let's talk about it. Anything you all would like to say or share. And I see this great question below. And you all know now, if you have a great comment, a great question, we want to absolutely engage with you and share your comment. John's question, which one is a bigger impact, Allen or Thomas? I'm going to say, from my perspective, I think Jonathan Allen has the big contract, the big impact here. I think is so critical, and it shows that there's going to be an emphasis on locking in key and consistent players, those with leadership abilities, those that are showing characteristics, the type of characteristics that you want to see in a leader. They're both, to Darrell's point, and we have to absolutely shout out Darrell from Legacy Maker Sports. Darrell was out there today, so we will soon get Darrell out here on the live from Richmond to share what he's seeing and what he's hearing. But I agree totally with Darrell, even though I think that Jonathan Allen has, that contract has definitely an impact. Both were solid contracts for certain. Both were absolutely solid contracts. Want to absolutely share the Logan Thomas contract as well. This deal, $24 million over 3 years, right? With $10.3 million in guarantees. Making Thomas now, he's the 7th highest paid tight end in the NFL. Yes, Logan Thomas absolutely had a breakout year. Thank goodness it was with the Washington football team. And you just got to love to see it. You have to love to see it. I was totally impressed that Washington made the commitment in advance of camp with both of these players. Definitely sends a message that they want to lock folks in, and they care about character, and they care about making an impact, and they're truly expecting huge things from both of these players this season and beyond for certain. So had to give that update. Wanted to share all of that information in case you had not known about it or had kept up with it. Here's the interesting thing. Yesterday, as you know, there's always an opening press conference. The team comes in and they have like walkthroughs, but the official practice was today. But here's what Coach Ron Rivera had to say about the Jonathan Allen and Logan Thomas signing contract extensions. He said, well, I just think the biggest thing was there were contracts that we were working on at the end of OTAs and minicamp and things we wanted to get taken care of. I'm just glad it's out of the way. You know, these are guys that we believe fit us going into the future. They give us some stability. I think it shows the other players that we most certainly are working to try and keep our own. And that's how you build a team. If you're able to sign those guys, keep those guys around. We were able to find Logan last year. He developed into a type of player we believe he has the ability to be, and we just feel very fortunate we can keep him around. And as you know, Jonathan was a first-round draft pick, a guy that's had a tremendous impact on our football team, not just as a player, but also as a leader. So it was good to get him done. So again, congratulations to both of them. I think is absolutely huge, and it just goes to show exactly what Coach Rivera said. So more to come. That means they're big things. That means they're looking at these guys like they're leaders. So I'm happy to see it. I'm really happy to see it. Got to take a moment to say what's up to Eugene. He has checked in, diehard Washington football fan. You all make sure you are sharing this show with your fellow Washington football team family and friends. We are doing this all training camp. All training camp. We are doing this show again. You can always look at the show later, but it's always, cool to do it live. It's kind of like watching the game later. You can DVR it, you can watch it later, but it's something about the live experience that really just drives it home, right? Now, moving on. Here's a big topic. Everybody talking about the vaccination rates. And I do want you all to let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about the teams lower than the rest of the NFL vaccination rates? I asked this question because, as you all know, Ron Rivera expressed his frustration with the team and that folks weren't getting vaccinated expeditiously and at just at a high rate. So what are you all's thoughts about this? While you all are commenting in the chat, letting us know how you feel, here's exactly what Ron Rivera had to say on dealing with the issues with COVID. He said, yeah, I think it's frustrating, especially in the fact that last year we were the number one team against COVID. Our players took the challenge of staying inside the bubble, doing things the right way. And for the most part, we only had 2 situations where both of them were guys that were not on the active 53. So it turned out to be a positive for us as far as being COVID free. And now for whatever reason, we have some reluctance to do that, to get the vaccine. And these young men have to make the decisions for themselves. But I think hopefully they can understand just how impactful not getting the vaccine is. So any thoughts there? Listen, we talked about this a bit on the show last week on Coaching from the Couch, the weekly rundown sports edition. And we know that this is important, that it's constantly on the news. Now we're hearing again that even if you are, the CDC has shared, even if you are fully vaccinated, you must go back to wearing your mask indoors. I think that's huge. I think that's important. And that just goes to show how important it is for all of us to care, not just for ourselves, but ourselves as a community and getting this vaccine. So Coach has spoken. We all know about Coach having cancer last year. That's becoming another repeat message that I think everyone just needs to hear and be reminded of. So, we'll see what happens. The numbers are continuing to move up. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Slowly but surely. So it's positive. And I think we're going to start seeing the team trend in an upward direction for certain. I think what's also important to share is today, in Terry McLaurin's, we'll get to that in a minute, but in Terry McLaurin's press conference, he shared that he is indeed vaccinated. Jonathan Allen, he also shared that he is indeed vaccinated. Logan Thomas wanted to keep his status of vaccination to himself. He was wearing a mask. Coach Rivera, Terry and Jonathan were not. So I think it's important. To Sherrod's point, right? Depends on what their reasons are. Some are just going against the grain, but some have legitimate, issues with it. And like Sherrod says in the comments, players have to make a decision. I think that's very important. I think that's accurate. That's right. Players are just going to have to make the decision. So this is going to continue to come up. This is going to continue to be a storyline. I think overall, the NFL has about 18 teams that are very high in their player vaccination rates. So right now, I think the Washington football team, before it was like the Colts and Washington football, I think now Washington football has the lowest rate. While they are above 50%, they're still the lowest of the teams with the players vaccination. So I think as time goes on, we will see this number increase. Here's what Coach Rivera said in terms of how he's feeling. He said he feels really good. He's very comfortable. He's comfortable with where they are as a football team in terms of the players' growth, development. He says we have some questions early on that I hope to get answered quickly. The thing that still looms over our head, unfortunately, is the whole COVID situation. That's the one thing that's similar to last year. It's not as pressing initially, but it can be, and we have to figure that out. We have to understand that we do as a football team, as individuals, we have to understand what's truly at stake in terms of opportunities going forward, and we'll see how it all unfolds. So another notion there from Coach in wanting to make sure his players get vaccinated. Okay, so we have gone through the week so far in Washington football, the signings of Jonathan Allen and Logan Thomas, the opening press conference. Now, today, first official day of practice. So listen, they weren't in pads. They were not in pads today. And we already know that training camp starts really amping up like mid-August. And then that last week of camp gets really intense because at that point, everybody's knocking the kinks out. It's truly about getting a roster spot. For certain. Listen, if Darrell is still checked in, one of the things that I love when Darrell was reporting out there, what he was sharing about what he was saying, it sounds like the defensive line is still doing what it is that they do. Okay. It sounds like they don't care if you're in pads or out of pads. They're going to wreck you at that line. They're going to wreck you at that line of scrimmage. They're not showing any remorse, any love for the offense early on. They're just dogging them straight out. And that's just is what that is. And that typically happens. So, I mean, again, day one. And I mean, but considering the defensive line, I don't think that, it's hard to understand or know that that's what's going to absolutely happen there. Here's some other positive things and some other things of note that Rhiannon Walker was sharing. Rhiannon Walker from The Athletic, and we'll hear from her throughout training camp as well, as long as with Darrell and others. Kelvin Harmon, wide receiver. She shared that Kelvin Harmon looks to be 100% coming back off of his injury. And I think that's promising. Again, we're going to always keep in mind, and I'm going to always remind you all that this is just day one of training camp. They were not even in pads. But she did mention, as did many others, that Kelvin Harmon looking like himself, looking like that player that we were like, hey, this guy right here is going to be something special. So that is also the position battles with wide receiver. If you all haven't already, make sure you check out Sherrod's article. Make sure you check it out on CWallSE.com and also on the CWall Sports and Entertainment Facebook page, where Sherrod goes in depth about the offensive position battles that you all need to be paying attention to. And one of the position battles that he mentioned is indeed wide receiver. I think that's huge. I think that's important. And the note that Kelvin Harmon is looking to be 100% is key. Also, what was interesting, again, Landon Collins coming off of his Achilles injury, looking like himself. So I just enjoyed that. As you're saying, Mazdak, I'm gonna go back really quick because I think this is an important point about Kelvin Harmon. That's encouraging. You want him to make the team. I think that's absolutely. whomever can catch and run fast. That's my motto. And that seems so simple, and that might not seem like a lot, but hey, we don't ask for much, right? We don't ask for much around here. Winning isn't a lot, is it? Or is it? I don't know. Here's another thing that I thought was really important. There was a lot of reports coming out about punt returns. Punt returner. Okay, let's hold up a second, because I think this is one where we know Steven Sims Jr., not the best experience per se last season. Very promising 2019. As Sherrod notes in his article, not so good 2020 at all. We thought that Steven Sims Jr. was going to just blossom as a specialist, a punt returner, and that just did not go that way at all last season. So today, taking reps at punt returner, Steven Sims Jr., Dax Milne, Isaiah Wright, and DeAndre Carter. I think that's interesting, right? What do y'all think? I think that's very interesting. But let's see. Day one, just day one. Okay, day one. Other updates from day one. As you all have probably heard by now, Curtis Samuel is on the PUP list, but Ron Rivera shared in his press conference after practice that Curtis had a groin injury in minicamp, so they're just bringing him along, wanted to make sure it was fine, and they're going to go from there. Speaking of position battles, I thought this was so super interesting that Ron Rivera said this. And to come is Sherrod's article on the defensive side of the ball, position battles to watch. Ron Rivera shared today that one position battle he's looking forward to is that at safety. He thinks that's going to be a good competition. And I think that I absolutely agree with Coach on that one. That's one that remains to be seen. I see Ron Blackwell has checked in, and Ron is saying right here, right now, what about the QB battle? Can Heineke push for that starting job, or is that a foregone conclusion? I think he absolutely can push, right? Absolutely can push. But what I'm going to share here is Mazdak's point, where it's like, hey, I believe it's Fitz, unless Fitz is a mess, and I think that's how the team is thinking too. I mean, Ryan, Fitz Magic, what they like to call him, he would have to just be a disaster for it not to be his job. But Taylor and Kyle Allen, all of them took reps today. That's how it goes. Again, first day, no pads. All right, first day, no pads. So this is something else that I think is very interesting. To close this out, just for today, thought this was interesting as well. Going back to position battles, Ron Rivera compared Benjamin St-Juste to Charles Tillman, who he coached while he was with the Chicago Bears. Also, Ron Rivera made a point to say that rookie Sam Cosmi has a real shot at playing right tackle. Mentioned that he's still one of the players that has to learn some details, but he definitely didn't have any issue with sharing Sam Cosmi's got a shot. So listen, you all, we're going to be doing this all training camp, okay? I'm going to be checking in with some of my media colleagues that are there and that are going to be sharing, and we're going to be going live and talking about what's going on there. And we're just going to keep checking in. We're going to keep checking in, and I'm seeing still comments coming in. Daniel Creek, thank you for joining us, mentioning that Sam is a beast. Absolutely. So there's some high hopes on Sam. Absolutely. So it remains to be seen. This is just day one, folks. We're going to keep doing the coaching from the couch Training Camp Edition, and also every single Thursday at 7:30 right here on the Seabold Sports and Entertainment Facebook page. We are still going to do our tried and true weekly rundown in DC sports, where we talk about all of the local sports teams. So you don't want to miss a beat. Make sure your live notifications are turned on, and we're gonna make it do what it do. Y'all know this is what I love. And oh, guess what? I don't know. Listen, so y'all tell me, is this shirt burgundy and gold? If it's burgundy and gold, don't tell anybody that I wore this, okay? We're going to keep that between us. Don't tell nobody I wore this today. But if it's like a maroon or some other color, you can mention it. But if it's burgundy and gold, we just going to act like Anyway. You all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And guess what? I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.